Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Power on. Bluetooth mode.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Maharaj, I accidentally muted the computer.
Jai Om Vishnuvad Puramhansa Paripraj Kacharja Ashtotra Satashri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Adi Adi Bol.
Welcome, everyone, to Caitanya Caritamrita with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Thursday, June 5th, and I'm going to look back for the verse
What year is it?
of 2025.
Thank you.
So I need to look back for the verse. I got mixed up.
Now, my place, I'm showing Adi-lila 13:115. Does that look right to you?
Okay, we see text 120,
120.
and so we're on 121
Okay.
now.
Okay. Adi-lila, chapter 13, text 121. Yes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Lagna Gani Harshalmati Nilambara Chakraborty Gupte Kichu Kahilai Mishere Mahapurusher Chinno Lagne Ange Binna Binno Teki taribe sangsare. After calculating the birth moment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nilambara Chakravarti privately said to Jagannath Mishra that he saw all the different symptoms of a great personality in both the body and the birth moment of the child. Thus he understood that in the future this child would deliver all the three worlds. Vaiche Prabhu Shochi Gare, Kripai Koilo Avatare, Jai Iha Koreye Shravan, Gaur Prabhu Dayamoy, Tore Hoyen Shadoy, She Pai Tahar Joron. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, made his advent in the house of Shachi Devi. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth, and thus such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord. Paya Manusho Janma Je Na Shuni Gaur Guna Hena Janma Tar Vyarta Hoilo Paya Amritadhuni Piye Bisha Gortapani Janmiya She Kene Nahi Moilo. Anyone who attains a human body but does not take to the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is baffled in his opportunity. Amritadhuni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. If after getting a human body one drinks the water in a poison pit of material happiness, instead of the water of such a river, it would be better for him not to have lived, but to have died long ago. Purport. In this connection, Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati has composed the following verses in his Chaitanya Chandramrita. Achaitanyam idam vishvam yadi chaitanyam isharam na vidu sarvashastragya yapi brahmyanti te janaha. This material world is without Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna consciousness personified. Therefore, if a very learned scholar or scientist does not understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, certainly he is wandering uselessly in this world. Prasarita Mahaprema. Piyusha Rasasagare Chaitanya Chandre Prakate Yo Dino Dina Evasaha. A person who does not take advantage of the nectar of devotional service overflowing during the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult is certainly the poorest of the poor. Avatirne Gauda Chandre Vistirne Prema Shagare Suprakashita Ratnaughe Yo Dino Dina Evasa. The advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just like an expanding ocean of nectar. One who does not collect the valuable jewels within this ocean is certainly the poorest of the poor. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam states, Shavid Varahostra Karai Samstuta Purusha Pashu Nayat Karna Pato Peto Jatu Nama Gadagrajaha Bile Bato Rukrama Vikraman Ye Shrinvata Karna Pute Narasya Jivasati Dardurike Vasuta Achopagaya Churugaya Gata Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum Najatu Marjo Bilapeta Yastu Sri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya Swasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Gandham. Could I get some more water? A person who has no connection with Krishna consciousness, a little warm, yeah, may be a very great personality in so-called human society, but actually he's no better than a great animal. Such big animals are generally praised by other animals, like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. A person who does not lend his oral reception to hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered to have ear holes like holes in a field. Although that person has a tongue, it's like the tongue of a frog, which unnecessarily creates a disturbance by croaking, inviting the snake of death. Similarly, a person who neither takes advantage of the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, nor smells the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, must be considered dead, even though he's supposedly working. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.4 states, Nivritta tarshaya rupagiyamanad bhavoshadach trotramano bhiramad ka uttamat shloka gunanavadat kuman virajeta bina vishugnat. Who but the animal killer, or the killer of the soul, will not care to hear glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Such glorification is enjoyed by persons liberated from the contamination of this material world. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.23.56 says, Atirthapada sevayai jivanapi mrito hisaha. Although a person is apparently living, if he does not serve the lotus feet of great devotees, he is to be considered a dead body. Thank you. Yeah, great. Messy, but there you are. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakoda Mahyam Datati Shapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakanda Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vanchakol Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Well, quite strong words in all of these verses. To the effect, it starts with this dual meaning of Chaitanya. Achaitanya midam vishram, yadi Chaitanya mishana, na vidu. And if one doesn't know Lord Chaitanya, then one is achaitanya.
he has no consciousness, he's dead. Or this whole material world without Krishna consciousness is useless. Chaitanyamidam vishvam yadi chaitanyamishram navidu sarva shastra gya. Shastra gya, one who knows the shastras, or a great scholar, and Prabhupada adds, or scientist. It doesn't really have to do that. It's not there in the Sanskrit explicitly, but Prabhupada takes that opportunity. Shastra gya means one who knows the shastra, but a great scholar or scientist. If the great scientist doesn't know Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's Brahmyanti. He's just wandering around in this world doing nothing. I remember I was on a check-in queue or immigration queue, and there was a young fellow who was next to me who was from NASA, and he was so enthusiastic that we're going to Mars. It was like, wow, wow, and wow. We're going to Mars. We're sending vehicles to Mars. Like, yeah, why? Thank you, my tax dollars are at work going to Mars, but what? Why? What profit? What gain? What's the point? He's full of youthful enthusiasm. We're all excited about his work. And what is it? It's like fireworks, on July 4th, you can go to the mall in Washington, D.C. and see them shoot off fireworks. And everybody goes, wow. But what is it? It's just over after a half hour, everyone has seen it pretty much. And after an hour, you pick up your blankets and you leave. And yeah, you've got a little more beer in you, but that's about it. So there's an overflow of Krishna consciousness due to the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Sankirtan movement. And if one doesn't take advantage of it, then Yo Dino Dina Evasa. He's among the Dina, the poor. He's really poor. Everyone's poor, but those who refuse to take advantage of the Sankirtan movement are still more poor. And Svavidvara Ostrakharai. Hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, people who are like that, glorify other animals. All strong words, but Prabhupada said strong words are sometimes needed to awaken a sleeping man. Any comments or questions? Yes, Doug?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I couldn't hear exactly, it said ear holes like holes in the field?
Yeah, Bile Barotu Krama Vikramanye. Bile, if I'm not wrong, means a hole. The ears, if they don't hear about Krishna, are compared to holes in the field. Those holes are useless. Who was it? William of Orange, King of England. His horse got caught in one of those holes in the field and stumbled, and William of Orange broke his collarbone, and there was a gradual decline, and that was it. He expired. So those holes don't do any good. They just get us into trouble. Or, I believe this is the way Prabhupada has it in the second canto, they're like snake holes. You know, what holes do you find in the field? Well, the holes that the snakes live in. Those are useless. Those are places you don't want to be. So the ears, they're elsewhere in the Bhagavatam. It's said that the ears are great because you can put as much in them as you want. There's no capacity. You know, eating is another thing. You can just put so much, but the ears can take any amount of Krishna Katha. So they're wonderful. But if all we put in them is mundane sound vibrations, then they're no better than empty holes in the field, or worse, holes that have snakes living in them. That's the idea. Something else? Yes.
Raj, so is there anywhere that says that Lord Chaitanya's appearance was expected due to some astrologers seeing? Is there any account of any astrologers predicting the appearance of Lord
Is there
Chaitanya?
any account of astrologers predicting the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Not that I know of, except that Gargamuni says, well, your child appears in different colors. Black, white, red, golden, yellow. So the red one has appeared, the white one has appeared, the black one was right there before Gargamuni. So there's one left.
Yeah.
So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, Sheshaprabhu.
Our readings seem to indicate perfection in one of the processes of knowing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I'm half deaf. You heard, maybe. You can be my relay? Or, oh yeah, well, we have a microphone here.
I think the course is certainly long enough.
Okay.
You seem to be, the readings that you did seem to indicate one who reaches perfection in knowing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But what about those who don't complete Krishna consciousness? Getting a full understanding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Have they lost everything?
Did you hear?
No.
It said that Sri Prabhu asked, your readings seem to indicate persons who know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But what about persons who don't know or have an incomplete understanding?
Yeah.
Is everything lost for them?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Good
That's the
question.
kind of doubt that comes to my mind also, because we're throwing this strong language at people and say, you know, if you don't, how was it put? If you don't drink this nectar after getting a human body, then better not to have lived. And of course, there's a qualifier there. If after getting the human body, one doesn't drink this nectar, but he drinks from the poison pit of material happiness instead. So what are we supposed to think? What about the innocent, really? The person who is not against Krishna consciousness, not against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, okay, there's a question here. What's the question? The question concerns those who may not be well informed about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but they may not know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what's their, am I right, what's their position? Because it's, all this strong language is being used here.
I think Maharaj was also mentioning that it seems like from the reading that the people have attained the perfection. What about those who have not attained the perfection but are in the process but have not attained perfection?
Those who are in the process, they're hearing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they haven't understood, or they haven't attained perfection.
Yes.
Well, they're good, you know. If I've started, if I'm on the road, then I'll get there. There's an argument. It's nice. In discussion by Hari Parshad Prabhu, he talks about places where it's said that this person reaches perfection, that person reaches perfection. And it may seem to us that, you know, they haven't really reached perfection. And he gives the argument that it's just a question of time. We say that, like if we say that Shesha Prabhu has gone to Chicago, someone calls you up, where's Shesha Prabhu? He's gone to Chicago. Well, maybe he's only at the airport. He's still at the Gainesville airport. But you say he's gone to Chicago, because he's already begun the process, and it's just a question of time until he lands. So in the same way, sometimes statements are made about someone achieving perfection, and although the person may not seem to have attained perfection yet, it's just a question of time. So those who've taken up the process, they're fortunate. Jay Bajay Shea Bada. Someone who's engaged in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is fortunate, even if he hasn't yet achieved perfection. From another point of view, we say he's already Krishna conscious. He's already, despite, even though he's only on the path, and we just have to wait some time. Even sometimes we have plums growing in the backyard. Maybe they haven't even appeared on the tree yet, but the tree is there, so the plum will be there. So they're fortunate, but the abhaktahin are those who are not engaged in Krishna consciousness, those who've not connected with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or appreciated Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're wretched, and they're drinking this poison and thinking this is the good stuff, and they're glorifying, they're fools and glorifying other fools and so on. So they're the ones who are in great need of being uplifted or introduced to the kirtan movement. From my side, it seems a bit like the verses, these verses are really kicking, as Prabhupada would say, kicking on the face of those who've not taken to Krishna consciousness. And that's there. And it is expressed strongly. What are you doing, in Coney Island, in Palisades Amusement Park, in Disney World? What are you doing with your human form of life? You're a fool. So then, yes, these things are true. Or you're busy talking about what Trump did, what Nixon did, what Putin did, what this one did. And it's all battling of sea waves and so on. So it's lamentable.
There's something here implicit about those who actually have the opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness but neglect it, or, as you were just kind of indicating at the end of your comments, neglect it for more mundane topics.
Yeah, those who neglect, who have the opportunity but neglect it. In Paradise Lost, and I think it reflects Christian theology, or at least one kind of Christian theology, these souls who departed this world before the appearance of Jesus Christ are consigned to purgatory. They don't go to hell because they didn't reject Jesus, but they don't go to heaven because they weren't blessed by a relationship with Jesus. So they go to purgatory, or they go to some place that's not quite so bad. It's the best of the bad. But they go to hell, but not a sort of hell light, I guess you would call it, or
Hell light.
and that's what you get when you have a one life picture of existence, that you either make it or you don't make it. And well, if you were not so bad, you don't make it, but we go easy on you. But in the Vedic picture, even a person who doesn't complete the course of perfection gets the chance to continue until he does. What is that? Yatate jatata bhuyo samsiddho gurunanda. After many births of perfection, after many births on the path of perfection, finally he achieves it. So it's a much more, what would you say, fair and satisfying picture than the picture in which this is it. Either you blew it and you're damned to hell forever, or you made it. And pity the poor worshiper who gave his whole life, but screwed up someplace a little bit or fell a little bit short, and so didn't quite make it in through the gates of heaven. And well, that's sorry. That's it for eternity. You only got one shot. What is that? One life, and then the judgment. That's really not very nice. So here we get. One gets the opportunity. All right, you got something now. You can increase it. There's a question in the chat box from Venkatesh. What about the innocent who don't know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So this is sort of the territory for that. First of all, it's our job to inform them about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, inform them about the Kirtan movement, about Krishna consciousness, and then whatever progress they can make. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mato bhayad. Even little progress can save them from the greatest danger. And all right, even if they don't in this life attain, maybe they don't become devotees, but if they do something, if they get started. Who were we talking about? Somebody's father who never became a devotee, but he had some appreciation. He was doing some service. That means the beginning is there, and it can increase. Sometimes we ask how a person can come to Krishna consciousness, and the answer is given that it's because of Sukriti, Agyata Sukriti. And one didn't seriously take up the path of Krishna consciousness, but he did something good. Served a devotee, maybe unknowingly, or just thought this was a nice person, I'd like to do something for them. And that little bit of service saves them from just going down and down and down, and gives them the opportunity to continue, now make further progress. It's really those who just walk past the Sankirtan party. It's, If you like it or you don't like it, too bad. The vibration is going to go into your ears, and that's going to be that. You will have heard the holy name of Krishna. That's our mission. Yes.
Devotee, a friend of mine, Antariksha, and I, way back when, in the days of Detroit Sankirtan Yajna, and lots of different towns and cities and suburbs around Detroit, we got arrested. We got thrown in, I guess what you would call the drunk tank with all the drunks.
Mm.
It's a long story, not worth going into all the details, but we were chanting Hare Krishna quietly, but they had an intercom, the police had an intercom. So they would hear us chanting, and every once in a while on the intercom you hear them going, they were mocking our chanting. And I thought it was really funny, because I knew that they were getting some benefit by listening and by mocking.
Yeah.
That makes me think of one of my cousins, and years ago when we were living in New Michael in France, my mother and my cousin and my brother and we came to visit the temple and stay.
Yeah, I should repeat because I think people won't hear. Years ago you were living in France.
In New Michael.
In New Michael.
Yeah.
And your brother came?
My family.
Your family came?
My cousin, my brother.
Your cousin and your brother.
And so, they came in the temple room, they had prasad, and then my cousin and my mother, they got garlands from the deities.
They took prasad and your cousin and your mother got some garlands from the deities.
Yeah, and then I think about this because then when she was on her deathbed, my cousin, because she was older than I am, and she was dying, and just shortly before she died, she was remembering, and she was saying, oh, those garlands were so beautiful, and she was remembering from years previous the garlands from the deities. So I just was thinking about maybe in her next life, she
Sure.
became a devotee or something.
And on her deathbed, this older cousin, years later, was remembering, oh, those garlands were so nice.
They're beautiful. She
They're
said,
so beautiful.
So beautiful.
And our philosophy is that this is tadiya, that which is connected with Krishna. So remembering the garlands means remembering Krishna. At the time of death, she's remembering
Yeah, the garlands from New Michael.
the garlands in New Mayapur means remembering Krishna. How fortunate. Yeah. Now there's another question that appeared, which I can't read.
Praveen Prabhu writes, some
You're
places.
muted, or I don't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
You appear to be muted, but you're not audible.
Yeah. Can others hear me?
No. Okay. Maybe while we're sort of... others hear it?
Yeah.
I see a thumbs up there. Another thumbs up. That sounds like I have a problem.
Yeah, can someone unmute and say something? Someone other than Ross?
Well, they're thumbs upping, which means they're hearing. So, and another thumbs up. So it's our technology that seems to be failing here. It's probably this thing. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Now, there we are. Sorry for blaming you.
Praveen Prabhu writes, some places there are still no devotees. How do they get the mercy? Who gets the mercy? Is it planned by the Lord or just luck?
Is it planned by the Lord or just luck? How do they get the mercy? Well, let's deal with how do they get the mercy. The devotees are working overtime to give them mercy. Devotees are always thinking how to give them mercy. Haridas Thakur, what about the non-living entities? How will they benefit? So the devotees are, and they're devising different kinds of plans. We could do something with the internet. We could have a festival and travel through these neglected areas. We could do something online. We could do this. We could do that. They're always thinking, how to reach those who have not been reached with the message of Krishna. So that's different from luck. There's the agents of the Lord are searching for these, Prabhupada said, lost souls, thinking how to get this vibration out to them, how to get this message out to them. Whether it's because they're off in some distant place, or they're in, what's the word, insulated in some sealed academic environment, or highly fortified against the intrusion of spiritual understanding, or whatever the case may be, devotees who did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how to get to these Mayavadis. Everybody's getting this nectar except for the Mayavadis. How can I reach them? I'll take sannyas from a Mayavadi sannyasi and I'll get an in. So devotees are always, Krishna himself and the devotees are always thinking how to reach people. So it's more than just luck. Of course, it can be just, it is described as good fortune, or causeless mercy. Causeless mercy. Causeless mercy means I didn't do anything to deserve it, but somehow by good fortune, almost inexplicable good fortune, someone happens to be in such and such place. Maybe there was some cause, but otherwise the real cause is that the devotees are desiring. Tarvich Chaballavan Pastrachete Tanta. Great devotees are desiring that Krishna consciousness spread, and people are getting it. Yes.
What about, isn't there like to become a devotee, haven't you performed previous, been to all places of pilgrimage and
Yeah.
this, that and the other? So is it just like your good fortune that you become a devotee this lifetime, or have you actually done, do you have pious credit from a previous birth?
So we hear these credits, these verses, he must have bathed in all the holy places, he must have performed all the rituals. So is it due to his past devotional service, or is it just random? Of course, we hear generally two explanations of tipus tapas, te, plus that. One is that actually in previous births he's done all of these things, so now he's chanting the holy name, he's done all these pious activities. Or because he's chanting the holy name, it's all included. Just like we hear that our Brajabihari Prabhu, he went directly from being in ISKCON to getting into, he hadn't even finished high school, if I recall. And then he was, or maybe that's all he'd finished. I forget what it was. He'd not finished, or he'd only finished high school. Anyway, they admitted him into a master's program for studying conflict resolution and so on. He got a good word from someone he'd worked with, highly placed person, and she said, I know it's unusual, but if you would please admit him to the program. And they did. So he didn't have the benefit of whatever degree would normally have been required, but they, he had a well-wisher, and that was it. They, all right, we'll do it. So sometimes someone may have no qualification, but he has a well-wisher, and that's enough. All right, you're given the opportunity to chant the holy name, and that means you've done all the other stuff. We don't have to separately award you a high school diploma or a bachelor degree. If we've admitted you to our master's program and completed it successfully, then all the other stuff is included. So either way, the one time someone in Mayapur asked Srila Prabhupada what it means, causeless mercy, and Prabhupada pantomimed like this. Someone has a big bag of money and just pushes it on you. That's causeless mercy. You didn't do anything, but someone decided. They used to have that television program, The Millionaire. Someone would, some philanthropist would write a cashier's check for $1 million and give it to someone. So these things may happen. Someone just desires. That's described in Nectar Devotion. That's one of the ways that someone can become a devotee, just by the desire of a devotee. Narad Muni was desiring that the child in the womb of Hiranyakashipu's wife become a great devotee, and he did, by the desire of Narada. So the devotees are desiring good fortune and endeavoring to distribute good fortune, and people become fortunate. Yes?
There's an example in the latest BTG article. Maybe you guys know this woman, Rose. I can't remember.
Rose Farkash.
Yeah, that story is amazing, where she was pleading with all the parents of these young devotees to come and see what it's all about. And I'm not sure exactly what the thread is, other than it sounds like there's causeless mercy, but then there's also this intention from someone.
Yeah, the intention. And just to repeat that in the latest PTG, there's a story about Rose Farkash, the mother of Lila Shakti. Lila Shakti?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lila Shakti Dasi. And she was, in the days when Hare Krishna was a cult, she was going around to parents and of devotees and sort of getting in touch with them and trying to bring them toward an acceptance of Krishna consciousness. So by her effort, those parents became fortunate. They became, they got to hear something about Krishna. And many of them did become more favorable. So Prabhupada, that, you didn't necessarily do anything. Of course, they had a connection. Somehow they must have been very fortunate because their children became devotees. But Rose was trying. And by her good wishes, people benefited. Yeah. There's a question there.
Right. For example, there are two villages and a devotee goes for preaching. He chooses to go to village A and not village B. And he goes forward to another village. Why village A gets the causeless mercy and not village B?
Yeah, why did this one get causeless mercy? Well, it's answered in the word causeless. And we hope that those from village A will now go to village B and give them causeless mercy.
Village B just sucks, that's all.
Hmm?
Nobody wants to go to Village B anyway. No one wants to go to Village B.
No one wants to go to village, but now village A, if they become fortunate that someone, devotee, chose to go to village A, then some of the people in village A should think that, we got fortunate by his mercy, we should make others fortunate. So let us go to village B. Yes.
Well, it's written in Prabhupada at one point
said to the devotees present, my spiritual master has sent you to help me.
Yeah, Prabhupada said, my spiritual master has sent you to help me.
So what was, I wonder about the process that took place. Were these...
How was that done?
Yes.
Yeah, I would be reluctant to take it that I'm really an avatar, that I was sent by Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj. But Prabhupada took it that way, that my spiritual master, not exactly avatar, but that my spiritual master has somehow or other sent you to me by his kindness. That's the vision of a pure devotee. He sees everything as being an arrangement by Krishna. We're at the end of our time, but maybe I'll tell that one story. I think I've told it before, but maybe I'll tell it again. That at 26 2nd Avenue, this was a little before I came, there was a devotee, Subal, and at one point the word was going around the storefront, just Prabhupada is staying there at 26 2nd Avenue, and he says something to his disciple, and everybody says, oh, Swamiji said this and that. So the word was going around that Swamiji had said that all of us were, those in the storefront, all of the devotees, I wasn't there yet, that we were all eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That all the devotees were eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Subal went up to Srila Prabhupada's apartment and said, Swamiji, is it true that we're eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And Prabhupada said yes. And Subal's sitting there like, just soaking in that yes. And Prabhupada said, everybody is. Okay, shall we have some more kirtan? Time moves quickly. We're talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Would you like to leave? You sure?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paripad Vikacharya Stol Shrimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navdev Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you all very much. And we wish an auspicious Ekadasi tomorrow to all. Assuming it's Ekadasi.